out to the greenhouse, everyone. It is about 40 degrees outside right now, 39, 40 degrees. It's darn chilly, and we had came out and started ourselves a fire because we left our doors open last night. That sun feels awesome. The sun's just breaking. It's about 8:15 or something in the morning. So the sun rays are very welcome here, helping us heat up our greenhouse. It's about 40 degrees, 41 outside right now, and we're sitting about 75 to 78 in here at any given point of the greenhouse. What I'm doing out here today is actually checking out these beds on each side and kind of explaining what I'm doing with them, some experimenting, and multi-purpose use of this bed behind me here. Just being able to plant a variety of things, from rooting cuttings to storing perennials for winter and healing in trees and perennials and stuff, and dedicating space, doing some square foot planting. Just a lot of in general stuff for planting this fall. Now if that sounds interesting, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's pretty much all we do here. You can hear my little pump kicking on and off for our little pond here. We don't have much sunlight yet. It's just broke over our trees and starting to hit the corner of our solar panel. So we're getting a little activity on that. That's what that pulsing sound is. So we're gonna jump behind me and check out these beds. So first things first, we're going to be starting with all of these little yellow alpine strawberries that we had propagated. And we got a nice little bucket of them where somebody had started some seeds and we acquired them through trades and stuff. So we were able to propagate a ton of those, or split them and divide them out, and we've got a ton. We've got 2 flats and another bucket full. So these are all free to us, and we're going to take them and just dot them through this entire bed here. I'm going to take them out of these pots, obviously, but this is kind of a representation of what it's going to look like, and just give them a dedicated space here so they can propagate and flourish, and we can possibly transplant them throughout our entire property, because this variety here only bears fruit for maybe 2 to 4 years. So they're a really ready self-seeder. I just want to get all these plotted out right now so I can see what we're working with here. So this is what we're working with here. We had put ourselves these cinder blocks. We've got a bunch more that we're going to use. We just use them to prop up our tables to keep them off the ground, keep rodents and toads out of our pots. We had just made ourselves like a nice 90-degree edge, and it's got a decent lip on it, so we'll be able to fill in soil with all of these. And we've got some of our DIY bricks here. We'll be able to put some more of those up. Got all of our rhubarb that was just going crazy behind a table. I forgot all about it. I thought we pulled it out, but there must have been a root stalk left, and it took off. So now that we're past our little strawberry bed here, I've got all of these York elderberry cuttings, and I'm going to be putting these in. We're going to make our own rooting bed. I do have some hat hair going on. I put a stocking cap on this morning. That 40 degrees was pretty darn chilly. Now when I'm doing a rooting bed specifically, I like to use this kind of material, something that's not poisonous, toxic, and something that's not permeable, where the roots are going to push right through it. So this is a good barrier for our roots, because these roots are very strong and they can get caught up and you can damage them, and by healing them in to a spot in the greenhouse, they might not fully go dormant, or they might come out very early of dormancy, and then you've got some super rambunctious roots that you're trying to pull out. So as all of these elderberries root up for us, we don't want them to sink too deep. We just want them to fill up the space they're in as they root up, so we don't have too much difficulty pulling them out midwinter or early spring. So this soil has been a few years down the road. It is very rich in nutrients and a lot of humus, a lot of natural compost and stuff that we take and put into this on purpose. So we're constantly building this soil. So I'm able to use it for all types of stuff. I'm going to get all the big, large pieces. We're still finding rocks as we dig through this soil too. But we're going to be using this as the platform. And then I'm going to take some of our grow medium, some good rich recycled soils and stuff, and top this off, and we're going to have maybe a couple square feet of rooting bed that we'll be able to fit hundreds of cuttings into. I got at least 4 to 6 inches in the ground on all of this, and I got my tarp liner, and you can see it sticking out of the ground. Yes, I want my little perimeter. I gave myself at least 4 to 8 inches to actually dig into and stick a cutting in, and having this liner is going to keep a lot of moisture, which is very important. You don't want these to dry out. This greenhouse gets pretty dry if I don't have a drip feeder like for winter time, when we normally have a barrel and we can just water everything daily or as it needs it. So I can kind of leave this, all of this will kind of puddle the water, but the water won't puddle too deep where it goes stagnant and nasty. It'll just be a small amount that can be wicked away, because if it fills up, it will run off of each side. So I kind of built this like a V shape, so it would run off down in the middle here on each side. So I just water right down the front, and it all runs right down to the middle. They like a nice moist environment, so keeping the doors closed on this greenhouse is going to really enable these, and they've got shade cloths on still, so we don't have to worry about direct sunlight. Next thing I want to do is dig a little bed next to these, where we're going to heel in a ton of perennials, and I'm probably not even going to get all the perennials healed in this video. I'm just going to give a basis and show what I'm doing, because I've got a ton of plants and I got to figure out where I want to put them. Some of them are going outside, but the ones that aren't going outside, I don't want to heel them into a wood chip pile outside, because the rabbits just eat the crap out of them over the winter time. So for those rabbits, they're out there eating, and then the snow goes up maybe 6 inches to a foot, and they're eating the tops of all of our bushes, and then as the snow goes down, they just keep eating all of our bushes and all of our perennial stuff that is for sale and for our own produce. So we want to protect all that stuff by healing it in and then giving it a better start next spring, as opposed to putting it in this fall. So we're just looking at the typical flow of how this is all going. I'm just working a bed, moving the soil, working a bed, moving the soil, and I want to keep it coming down so we can continue to backfill it. So I do have a lot of work, but this soil is moving so easily. It is a very easily moved soil. It's nice and broken up, full of humus. I mean, you can see moisture layers, and it's all really, really good stuff. As we let these beds rest over the summer, all of the good stuff mixed in, broke down, all of the critters. So that should be enough to get me started here. Look at all these roots and this root system on this native elderberry, native Northern American elderberry. So this is going to get stored. We're going to kind of just break up all of the soil on it and loosen up the roots a bit. Not fully, we're not going to submerge it in water and totally clean it off. We're just going to stick it right up in the corner here. So we've got ourselves some rosemary, we've got some red vein sorrel, and I've even got some lavender over here. A whole bunch of lavender propagations that we had going. So tons and tons of crops that I'm just kind of giving examples, because I've got a lot of planting outside to do. So we're going to take and make an entire row of this red vein sorrel, and we can smash the root systems together. Now these are just getting caked together. We're going to throw all of this lavender right up front here. Just smash all that together, and then we'll bury in some rosemaries all together. Just smashing the root systems down, packing everything in tight, and then we're just going to pack over top of them and make it one solid mass. That way all of the roots are kind of just bundled together, smashed in, hard to expand them. We just want to store them and give them a good place to store for winter. Oh, so I would say that the main reasons that we dedicate the space to stuff like this, beds that are just for perennials and storage, is because of those temperatures outside, the polar vortexes, they can come through and kill stuff, or we have rodents and varmints that are just digging them up or ruining the crop, digging the roots out, eating the tops of them. The deer and the rabbits are pretty good at that. So all those things, plus our little rooting bed where I put the liner underneath, I can control the environment very well. I can control all the soil, the moisture levels, and I can control the root competition. It's just the one crop starting roots, not a whole lot of root growth in there, so they'll be able to slowly grow together as opposed to having weeds around them, and just controlling the environments on these crops to make a better success rate for ourselves. I will state that we put a little aloe vera in our cuttings. We put that in the water and just kind of let it sit and soak for a day or two, and they just kind of sat in the corner of the greenhouse. It was chilly last night, so we had aloe and water mixed together for those elderberry cuttings, the York elderberries. We've got a ton of native elderberries and a few other varieties, so we want to start some beds and try and see what we can get for a success rate on those as we're planting the rest of the greenhouse. This is just one little part of the greenhouse, and this is plant storage, so hopefully everybody enjoyed this video or got something from it, or it gave you an idea of what you could do with your own space. And this is by far not done yet. This will really fill out before we actually have to close the doors up 100%. I just opened the doors because it's darn warm in here. That sun and the stove together, it got up to like 82. I had to shed my long sleeve, and I opened the doors for some fresh air on all the plants. So as we progress towards winter, you will slowly see this fill up and heal in, and all of these tables will disappear, and we will have crops planted in every bed of this greenhouse. So if anybody has any questions on stuff I covered today, please drop it in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one.